Welcome back to another video. My name is Aaron and I help people expand their consciousness. Now in this video, I'll be sharing with you how to overcome social anxiety and 3 techniques to help you do that. Now, with this process, and something I think you can just find so powerful, is knowing that many times when we feel anxiety could easily be the emotion of excitement if we took the judgment and the label off of it. It's the idea that anytime we experience something new, i.e. we're in a social environment and we're around new people, and we then have the feeling of anxiety, it could simply be the feeling of excitement. It's just going through a belief system, it's going through a filter in our mind that converts it into a negative thing. It's almost like that negative definition itself is what causes the anxiety to begin with. So I haven't even got into the 3 techniques I'm going to share, but that alone can allow you to really transmute it from being that feeling of anxiety to sitting there and saying, wait a minute, could this be excitement for something new? And is there some type of negative definition I'm imposing on this feeling and therefore getting that result? Now, I've been someone that's felt social anxiety many times before, and especially because of the way that I grew up. So let me give you a little backstory real quick. Between the ages of me being about 9 to 15, my dad was married to someone that was my ex-stepmom. She was very intense when it comes to discipline. We were allowed to watch TV before, we were allowed to have friends before, and all of a sudden when they got married, we weren't allowed to watch television, we weren't allowed to have friends, and all we were really allowed to do was yard work, housework, or go to school. So it was like a very military type style. And between that time, I mean, of course we went to school, of course we still had interaction there, but we weren't able to really have that casual interaction of being like socially at a party or something like that. And then 15 came around, and a little bit before that, my dad divorced her. So when that happened, all of a sudden, me and my brother are very excited because we're allowed to have friends. We're allowed to, watch TV, which was something we weren't allowed to do for that whole period in our life. And I had to learn how to relate to people. I had to learn how to not be so anxious around other people. And I remember looking back at this, like maybe I didn't know all this information now, but when I look back at this, one thing that really helped me go through it and allowed me to go through, which is the first one I'm going to share with you, is to change the story that you tell yourself and to change the attachment that you have. If you go out into public and you always believe that you feel anxiety when you're around other people, it's almost like you've been conditioning yourself to feel that emotion, where you could simply decide you are going to change that story, and as you change the story and you simply realize, hey, I'm just going to decide right now that doesn't have to have power over me in the present moment, that's when things began to shift. So for a period of time, I was always thinking to myself, I lost this period of my childhood and I wasn't around people. I realized that didn't help me, and that in a way influenced or emphasized that kind of experience. And I remember even if I went to a party with friends that were already my friends after, I got, started making friends, I would still feel that anxiety, but it always came from making it all about me. When I would go somewhere, I'd put all the focus on what will other people think about me. But the moment I decided to put that energy out to simply have fun, have this like more of a sharing type vibe, which is like just loosening up about it, that's when things really began to change. But I had to let go of that story and I had to be more present to the moment. Now, the second technique I have for you involves understanding how to simply loosen up and have fun. Now, the reason I say this is because a lot of times when we are in and feeling social anxiety, it's coming simply from such a seriousness, like life is so serious. It doesn't have to be. Life can be more fun. Life can be something that is that we learn how to really ping off other people and collaborate with other people. And to do that, one technique you can use is to simply decide to start laughing more often. See things as funny, because then when you go into that social environment, you can see that the anxiety itself is kind of funny. Maybe you realize that you can just talk to other people. A lot of them around you are friends. You start to see it in a more comical type way. Now, you could even use what is called a NLP technique, which stands for neuro-linguistic programming, which I found to be very powerful for transforming these kind of patterns. And you can start to view certain experiences in your past, because many times if we have a belief that says that we feel anxious in public, we can look at the earliest experiences we have of feeling that social anxiety, and what we can do is we can take that experience. Maybe it was being ridiculed in front of class for giving a speech, which was something that I went through, and because I was giving a speech and I completely blanked out, then there was awkward silence, and when that happened, that was an anchor for me going on in the future, and it was something I had to learn how to let go of. Well, the NLP technique would involve you looking at that specific memory and deciding to make it something you disassociate from more, which means you can make it black and white. You make it less, like you automatically will feel less of a connection to it. The next thing you can do is to play it backwards. As you play it backwards in your mind, you start to see it in a new way. The other thing you can do is to make it a cartoon. Make it with the voice of a chipmunk that is saying it. As you look at this memory and you do that, you change the way that you relate to the memory, which then allows you to let it go and then to be who you prefer to be, which goes back to letting go of the story of the first one. Now, the third technique I have for you, the third way, involves simply going out more often and putting yourself in those uncomfortable situations. You see, the more you do it, the more you realize there is nothing to be afraid of. The more you realize that you can do it, and you develop that confidence. Now, what could this look like? It could be when you go to a job or you go somewhere and you're waiting for an elevator. Make small talk with the person that you don't know that's sitting next to you or that's standing next to you. As you simply start to do this, what will happen is you will change the self-image for the way you view yourself, and as you start to do that, you find that you then have more comfortability with other people, with being in social interactions, because you start to prove it to yourself that that's just the kind of person you are, and you are somebody that can handle it. So realize your self-image. If you view yourself as someone that's afraid of being in public, somebody that's timid, you can change that by taking action, by proving to yourself that you can do it, and by proving to yourself that there's really nothing to be afraid of or worried of. Now remember, most people are focused on themselves anyways. When you go to a party, most people might be looking around or they might be talking to other people, but they are ultimately thinking about themselves. Now, this means that what you can do is not think about yourself, not worry about how you are coming off to other people, not looking for validation from other people. And a simple way to do that is to have fun, is to share your energy with other people, to add value with positive emotion by just simply being in that loose type state. Remember, all you have to do as well is simply redefine the feeling from being anxiety to excitement, and that alone can change just about everything. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Feel free to like this video if you liked it, subscribe if you haven't already, and as always, I will see you guys on the next vid. Peace, much love, namaste. All right, bye.